What's going on, Barbell Barbarians? Alex from Inner War Strength here. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different and read an article that we uploaded to our website, innerwarstrength.co. Now, if you go to innerwarstrength.co, you'll see a bunch of cool merch that you can buy to support the war against atrophy, as well as read some articles, listen to some killer Spotify workout playlists. While you're banging them weights, you gotta have some metal blasting in the background. So go check them out at innerwarstrength.co. Now, the article in question is called Against Mainstream Slop and the Mass Man. Now, I think this is particularly relevant to the current um, to the current zeitgeist we live in. But to be honest with you, I think I think it's pretty relevant regardless. So let's dive right into it. This is Against Mainstream Slop and the Mass Man. The Dork Age has given rise to the mass man. Commonly personified by the NPC meme, the mass man is fully bought into the system and lives a life of content mediocrity. Who is the mass man and why should we transcend him? As societies grow ever more complex, so must power adapt to the problem of mass and scale. Technology, mass media, and entertainment all converge to create a sprawling net to captivate the mass man and keep him sedated in his virtual cage. This is the primary characteristic of what we call the Dork Age, a society managed by and comprised of dorks, of mass men. The mass man has no viewpoints of his own. He delegates his opinion making to authorities and is fed junk food talking points by the mass media slop machine. The mass man then regurgitates them on social media and at dinner parties while others of his ilk nod in agreement. These talking points come as simple, easily digestible slogans which the mass man can easily comprehend and recite. Can you think of any of those easily digestible slogans which you've been fed over the years? Hmm. The masked man repeats them until the next big thing comes along and a new set of programming parameters are required by the regime. On social media, the supposed online marketplace of ideas, the mass media slot machine works on overdrive through a network of paid shills and so called quote unquote influencers to shape public perception. The online discourse on these platforms will appear to allow for dissenting voices. In actuality, the range of allowable opinions is controlled. The conversation is contained within acceptable bounds. Thus, the mass man's thoughts are corralled, lest they wander into forbidden territory. Opportunists harvest reactions and public outcry for profit. Grifters peddle outrage porn to capitalize on the mass man's outrage to whatever the current thing is. They amass impressions and generate clicks and comments to cash in on that sweet, sweet ad revenue. Everything is fake and gay, but the mass man can do nothing about it. The incentives for content creators, influencers, and journalists alike are such that he is resigned to being constantly waterboarded in a never ending torrent of slop. See beyond the superficial and swim against the mainstream. Tune out the slop merchants, the talking heads who serve the interests of power to perpetuate the paradigm of the Dork Age. Wield the sword of reason to cut down the daily lies slung at you by the mainstream. Behind the slogans and buzzwords, see reality for what it is, not how it is sold to you. The mass man's lifestyle is one of atomization, disconnected and isolated from his community and estranged from his culture and history. He is compelled to live in a cramped apartment block full of strangers and to commute to a soul devouring job where he generates value for shareholders. A bankrupt mass culture assaults him at every turn, defacing his history and eroding his cultural heritage in the name of the modern Dork Age. The mass man is alienated in his own society, but because he lacks his own will, he can't even rebel against it in any meaningful way. Block out the mindless distraction of prepackaged fast food culture. Replace it with good music, quality conversation, and debates with friends, the wisdom of old books. Be true to yourself and authentic to who you are. Be confident in the fact that what you instinctively know to be true probably is, despite what the mainstream tells you. But be willing to learn and develop the intellectual honesty to challenge your own narratives and change your mind when the truth contradicts your viewpoints. Exercise intellectual due diligence. Interrogate the accepted mainstream narrative, and you will find them wanting almost every single time. Go beyond the conformist mediocrity of the mass man. Strive for excellence in everything you do, whatever your calling may be. Your quest will lead you down winding paths fraught with obstacles, but overcoming them will bring you true fulfillment. And you won't find this in mainstream slop. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Join the war against atrophy at innerwarstrength.co, and I'll see you in the next one.